Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our special session meeting, and we will start with a moment of silent prayer. And please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Treasurer, when you're ready, you can call the roll.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mrs. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Benton?
Here.
Mr. Koppel?
Here.
Mr. Frazier?
Here.
And the reading of the notice, please.
The Johnstown-Monroe Board of Education will hold a special Board of Education meeting beginning at 5 p.m. on Monday, June 29, 2026. The special meeting will be held in the Johnstown City Building located at 599 South Main Street, Johnstown, Ohio. This is the public meeting of the Board of Education for the purpose of presentations, personnel, annual financials, handbook approval, and vendor contracts, overnight field trips, and district policies, and is not being considered a public community meeting. There's time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. Upon request of the superintendent, the district shall make reasonable accommodation for a person with a disability to be able to participate in this activity. Recording shall be made of each meeting of the board as administrative aid and shall be preserved as public documents of the board.
Thank you. Any additions or deletions?
We have one addition. If you look at your agenda under consent, section G says pupil activity employment 26-27 school year. Okay. I'm going to read to you the names of those we're asking you to approve, those to whom we're asking you to approve. The others I'll tell you in a minute. So the ones we're asking you to approve tonight will be Chad for 8th grade boys basketball, Scott for varsity girls head basketball head coach, Josh for varsity wrestling head coach, and Giselle for varsity head coach cheerleading in the fall, and then also in the winter varsity cheer head coach in the fall. The other names there can be eliminated, and I gave you a separate sheet. It's got a red line on it. You know, we like to make sure that we don't have single point failures, so the reason why there's cancellation is this is a bit of a redundancy because we already approved all these. The ones that are crossed out the last meeting we realized afterwards, so we didn't want you to double approve someone. How's that? So. Okay. Other than that, everything in the agenda is intact unless the board has some changes.
All right. Thank you. And can I get a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Call roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
And I don't believe we have public remarks. All right. Thank you. And
Our
then-
next is presentations, right? So
Yep.
our first presentation, I'm going to ask Mr. Geist to come up. We have a special acknowledgement celebration of Cam Beverick and a school record that has been standing for decades that has been broken. So Mr. Geist is going to share the details about Cameron and his families here. So.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day. I'm bringing Cam back up here, and he's got another school record that he will, obviously I'll bring him up here in a second. He can talk to you guys about that. And then also talk about the season. This will be 2 individual records per our record board, and then he also has a cross-country record that, the cross-country record is obviously an individual one, but then he's also part of the 4x4, I believe, the relay team from 2 years ago, where he has a record as well. So this will be his 3rd acknowledgement on the record board. 4th acknowledgement. I missed one. I apologize. Man, I'm glad he's here. So no, this is another great and outstanding accomplishment for him. And when I invite Kim up here in a second, I'll let him talk about sports. But I've done some thinking about some of the athletes that I've gotten to meet this year, and one that stands out is Cam. Cam is a well-rounded individual. I don't just mean that because it's easy to say, right? But if you look at any sporting event that we host here, Cam's there. Cam supports the student body. He supports Johnstown. He's going to be a face that we always remember here, and I certainly do, even just being here for not even a whole year yet. But it's remarkable what he's done and what he will do at, continuing his academic and athletic career at Ashland. So, Cam, come on up, and I'll finish talking here. I don't think in school we always like to call groups cliques, right? And we all separate on personalities and what we're interested in. I don't think there's one clique that doesn't associate themselves with Cam. Cam is well represented amongst all student body at Johnstown, and he's a great person, great athlete, great mentor, and we're lucky to have him. So, thanks, Cam. Go ahead.
So first of all, thank you guys for having me. It's pretty cool to be back here for a second time. So I was really happy with my season. Started off pretty good. I mean, started off better than I was the year before. And as the year moved on, I kept dropping my times a little bit faster every race. And I got to the district track meet, which was right before the regionals. And so I ran 157 at the district track meet. And the school record was 156. And I was a second off with probably one race left. So I basically got to the regional track meet, and I thought to myself, I was like I got to do it today or I'm never going to do it, right? And especially at being a school record that stood for 40 years. And I definitely thought, like, if anyone was going to do it, I believed in myself that I could do it after all this work. I've been running the 800 since 7th grade, so definitely a lot of work over the course of, 5 years or so. And ever since I kept getting better at it, I was like, I saw the school record and I knew that I could potentially get that. So it was really cool to be able to do that, especially last race. I didn't know I was going to do it. I was kind of thinking, like, if I do, it'd be really cool, but if I don't know who else would be able to get it here in the next couple years. So I was pretty happy that I could get that my last year and the last race. But thank you guys again for having me. This will be officially my last time here because I'll be going to college, but I'm super excited to go to Ashland. I think I can be successful there just like I was here. And I'm going to keep working and see what I can do. So thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Here, Dad, give me your camera.
Shy, right? Yeah, you're shy, right?
I think they want you in.
Yeah, they want you
Mom,
in it.
Dad.
Come on.
Yes,
Come on,
you
man.
need to be in it.
Yeah, get in there.
Last time, Mom.
Yeah.
Not to make you
What'd
cry,
feed
but
him
last
to
time,
make him
Mom.
so tall?
What's that?
What'd you feed him to make him
We're
so
still
tall?
trying to figure out where he got the height from. It's not the two of us.
I feel like this is happening a lot. It's happening in my family too. Mine's my nephew.
Every generation will tell
Something in the
All right, Cam,
Oh, no,
will you
it's
stay
your-
there for a quick second? Cam, we've seen you up here more than once. So exciting to see everything you've accomplished, not just on the field, but as a student. Best of luck to you. What are you going to study at Ashland?
I'll be studying business. I haven't decided which specific field, but I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out when I get there. But yeah, business will be my major.
Very exciting. Congratulations.
Thank
Are you going to run track there as well, or
Yes.
cross country?
Yes, I'll be in cross country, and then it'll be indoor and outdoor track, so
Oh,
be
that's
pretty
good.
busy.
Very busy.
Kim,
Yeah,
you had
for
us
sure.
really with bated breath about what was the final result? I mean,
Oh, for
it was
the-
156 to 150 or
Yeah,
157.
so
What
the
was it?
record was 156.5. I ran 155.5.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was hoping for 156.5, and to get a second faster than that,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say when I crossed the finish line.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
That's
Well,
amazing.
I think every sport has its challenges, but I would say with running, it takes a lot of like personal discipline. You know, a lot of it you're doing on your own and
Yeah.
you know, so congratulations. That's
Thank
so
you.
exciting.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you're on our record wall for
Yeah,
a
I
very,
hope so
very
too.
long time.
I hope it's 48 years like that one was.
Yeah, yeah. And they'll be like, finally beat that camp.
Yeah, but
It's
thank you.
really cool. You got, the gentleman who held the record, his name's John McKenzie. Unbeknownst to us, he's been tracking Cameron for quite some time.
Oh, wow.
And supporting him.
That's awesome.
And so he showed up to the event that we had this spring for track, where we unveiled the track board, and let Cameron know that he was very supportive of him.
Okay.
It was really cool.
Oh, that's a great
That's a
story.
nice
Thank you for
story.
sharing that.
And he even emailed us afterwards, congratulations, Cameron, you know, that record's still on time. So it's,
Which is really nice, because that's something Cam will do someday. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're
Yes.
also, I'm
Right.
speaking out of turn here, but
No,
I've known a lot of kids in my time, and Cam is the nicest, most polite, still will not call me anything other than Mrs. Ryan, and we've known each other for most of his life, the
Yes.
nicest kid you will ever meet.
well, thank you. Yeah, he gets it from his mom. I knew it was coming.
Well, hopefully we'll get some good updates at Ashland, but
Yeah, for
best
sure.
of luck there.
Yep, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Congrats,
luck.
Cam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our next presentation is for Community Bus Services contract, and Derek Busenberg will give us a highlight. In your board agenda tonight, there's a request to approve a new 5-year contract with Community Bus Service. We've had a lot of look at this contract. As you know, the market's changed in the last 5 years, and we've been studying this for probably about a year now. So you'll see the core contract in here, and then some discussion about adding a route too that we've talked about through our safety and security matters. But Mr. Busenberg, you want to walk us through this presentation and we'll see if the board has any additional questions?
Absolutely. As Dr. Wagner said, this is something we have been working on for a while. This contract, our work actually started in November. I thought it would be helpful to just a little bit of background on our experience with transportation and kind of our history. Johnstown, CBS is Johnstown's second private transportation provider. So we have been with CBS now for 11 years. We did 2 5-year contracts and a 1-year renewal between those 2 5 years. So we've had a long history with CBS, and an even longer history in the district with Vendorized Transportation Services. Our current 5-year agreement with CBS expires this month. So this has been on our radar for quite some time. When we zoom out and we think about the process here, we originally we were exploring a request for proposals, and we reached out to transportation consultant Pete Japixi. And Pete learned more about our situation, our experience, our needs, our relationship with CBS, and he is one of the most well-respected transportation consultants in the state, and he was the one that encouraged us to go through a collaborative study. Rather than the RFP, which is pretty cumbersome and probably didn't meet exactly our needs, the collaborative study was a service he provides. And so we decided that we would go through with that. If you flip, I should get the, there we go, collaborative study. So the collaborative study, this began, we approached Pete in November. So that's when our work kind of began. And the collaborative study included a comparative cost analysis of other districts served by contracted transportation services, a review of performance metrics based on Ohio's administrative code, identification of what's working well and where there's opportunities for improvement, viability and cost impact of increasing ridership eligibility for district students. That was what Dr. Wagner mentioned at the beginning. We had him weigh in on, how much is this going to cost if we expand a bus and implement the safety zones and expand our ridership eligibility? He really helped with, does that one bus, is that 2, and what's that going to do to the overall transportation picture? And then contract compliance with existing agreements and identification of potential contract amendments. So this was an incredibly thorough process. It was long, but it was also very good. So the next slide are just kind of the conclusion of the collaborative study. Overall, like I said, very valuable, very informative. It was a good exercise. CBS was a tremendous partner throughout the process. They came to all the meetings. They were always well prepared. They provided all of the information that Pete asked. I mean, we went through a series of 65 question, open-ended on all kinds of things, and they were really good partners. Through that process, we were able to determine that our average per bus transportation costs are in line with comparable districts in Ohio. So one of the things that Pete does is he's going to find the comparable districts who are also using vendorized transportation and do a cost analysis for us. Those data, it's really complex and hard to kind of sort through unless you have the level of expertise that Pete has. So that was really helpful and good for us to know. He did recognize CBS's significant investment in technology recently. You guys are all well aware, but we've got all of the routing transportation software now, the gatekeeper camera systems with the stop arm cameras that activate when the stop arm camera goes out to catch people running those, and the Stop Finder app that parents can use to track their bus and set up geofences for alerts and know when route times change. So they have made a significant investment in technology, and Pete was pretty impressed with that. And he also acknowledged that the background screening and the conditions for employment that CBS is using meets all legal requirements. So that was good and reassuring to know. That's always an area of importance for us. And then just in general, identified areas for improvement, and then identified areas for contract language enhancement. Some things had, probably would call it legacy language, from our very first contract had just continued to roll over and really needed to be cleaned up in some areas. And so that was really helpful. And so where we find ourselves after that collaborative study and that entire process is a recommendation for a 5-year contract with CBS that would start July 1st, 2026, so next month, and then run for 5 years through June 30th, 2031. One of the things I would like to note, our contract has gone through 6 or 7, maybe we might be on version 8. We've kind of gone back and forth, and Pete has worked on behalf of the district, but I would like to note, I know the board provided feedback to Dr. Wagner. Jesse, I know you took a real close look at it. We went through all of those, made some pretty significant changes, which I outlined in the Friday report, just including that language. It was good to have multiple sets of eyes on that last draft of the contract. So I think we got a lot of things cleaned up. Jesse, I know you had questions about like if our buses were ever used somewhere else. And so we added some real nice language in there that it will be identified and tracked and reported on. Yeah, so there were some nice things also you had about performance metrics in general, and we have quarterly meetings, and we really dialed in on exactly what they would report on and what they would share. So I thought that was great input and appreciate that. So yeah, at this point, I know that's a real quick summary of a multi-month process, but I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Board, have any questions? Like I know you've seen this before we had committee, but any questions or concerns about the presentation, then the contract comes up later in the agenda?
I do have one. I appreciate you making those updates, some of those changes. There was one question I had about the routes. So in section 6, specifically B, where it talks about the base payments to the company and the base service, their obligations basically references bus routes 1 through 8, 10 and 11 is the core bus service, but shouldn't those routes be like attached to this as an addendum, because those are kind of undefined terms that I'm not familiar with, like what bus route 1 means?
Yeah, so those 10 routes, those are our in-district, they call them yellow bus routes. So that is the core contract. It's referred to as the base contract. So that is the in-district yellow bus routes. Everything else, like we do lots of van transportation for special education. We send buses to Utica High School, Utica Middle School, Granville. Those are all kind of, we'll call it a la carte, because they change from year to year. But our our core routes, that 1 through 8, 10, and 11, that is what most people would recognize as our transportation service. Core, in district, goes out, picks kids up in the morning in the district and brings them to our school.
So did you get the idea that, because we spent a lot of times approving those maps and stuff, I don't know if this is communicated, the idea of changing the language in the contract to reference the service pickup area instead of a specific route number that's not really identified here. You see what I'm saying? For me, like every term of the contract should be defined in the 4 corners of the pages, and bus route 1 is not a bus route that I know that's defined in this contract to me.
Would you want to know like where Route 1 covers, like the geographical area?
Well, I think that we should have, right, those those geographic areas, or some geographic area that defines their obligation, because that's their primary obligation under the core services.
Derek, do you want me to, I was gonna say just generally how we've done it is, we have to wait for families to opt in, and then that's gonna dictate where, right? And so we're looking at, there might be, so from last year to this year, looking at who's opting in and where our transportation needs are, those routes will change from year to year. And so I think we can say they're within our district lines, and then early fall, once they get those routes going, we will get the start and stop times of every home on every route, and then we will approve the routes, usually October.
Yeah, we're
Actually,
gonna.
by board policy, you're supposed to approve those by September 30th, actually.
Yes.
So
bring
we
those back
approve
to
them
the
in
board.
September.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of goes back to my point that we don't know what these routes are, so to define their primary obligation by undefined routes, my suggestion was we use the service area maps to define their obligation to pick up our kids in this area.
Yeah, I think the challenge is we don't know 5 years out what our service areas are gonna be. And so you don't know where the routes will go. What we know is that the way we look at it is we pay them to provide 10 buses in the district to transport students. We can weigh in on where we think they should go and how long routes should be. But for them in 2026 to geographically determine where routes will be in 2020 or 2030, I think will be challenging. And as our district changes, may not meet our needs. So I think we look at that as our core contract. We pay them for the base amount for 10 routes in the district to transport kids.
Fair enough, and I like that. It's a good reason why we shouldn't use that geographic area map. So what about just changing it to 10 bus routes instead of bus routes 1 through 8, 10, and 11? Because to me, we have to define that term, so we just did 10 bus routes.
We could do that. That's fair. I questioned them too, because I said, what about, it's like 1 through 8, 10, and 11. I said, what about 9? And they're like, well, 9 used to be this route, so we backed it out. But
So I would vote for it if we just make that change to just 10 standard bus routes instead of
I think
those
that's
terms that aren't identified. That was the only call out that I had. Everything else looked pretty good to me. So
For the board also, one of the things you could do in the fall is by the time we'll do opt-outs, like you said, Mrs. Davis, or opt-in, I'm sorry. And then we'll get the school year started. It takes a couple weeks to kind of work through traffic patterns. You know, it's a little hard. It is bus route 2, as it's called right now, but the one goes to the southern end of the school district. That's hard, but you can give an update to the board and before your September 30th, and you can see exactly where the buses are.
Yeah.
One of the things we look at with that is if there needs to be 9 routes, I can't imagine there would be, but if there needs to be 9, we can skinny that down. Sometimes in a growing school district, you have to add routes during the school year too, so you have to bring that back to the board. We haven't had to deal with that yet. But that's something you could look at, I would say, what do you think, Derek, like after Labor Day probably, I would think?
Yeah.
You're gonna have some pretty good idea, and then that'll give you opportunity before the September 30th approval.
If things go according to plan and some of the things that we improved with Pete, we're trying to, our opt-in ends a week earlier. And so we're really trying to get that to the board even sooner. So yeah, we can.
It'll take a little bit of time for those routes
It will.
to smooth out. I really think by Labor Day, you'll be in a decent spot. You'll have a little tweaking, but you'll know where you are.
Yeah.
And then we can give the board an update at that time, and if there's questions, you can actually go through those routes, and you can give us, there you'll have accurate detail, but as you said, it's gonna be year to year at that point, so.
The only other thing that I would request maybe that the board get a copy of the first couple performance reports. I'd be curious to see what those look like. I don't know if those are normally provided or not, but.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Busenberg?
I just want to thank you and CBS and Pete for the hard work. You know, they've done a lot of work where they study and they forecast where they think people will opt in. And it's really a science to the whole thing to be able to figure out how many buses you need and what the routes really look like. So it's a tremendous lift for them to do this for our school district every year. So I want to thank you on behalf of the board. Because we've all
Appreciate that.
we've all had been in meetings where we've talked to CBS was in our meetings, a work session a while back. And it's quite a heavy lift to go ahead and get this all put together. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
When you look
Thank
at even the superintendent's survey that was done, the transportation results from the community were strong. In fact, I'm proud of this work that's been done. You know, it's been good. One of the things that the board talked about too, and it'll be included in this, is, and you saw it in the letter I sent out, it will be that we'll have smaller walk zones now, especially for those K-3 students and not crossing some of the major intersections. So that'll be baked into this whole thing as well too. So you'll see improved services in that. So more to come.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Board committees, we did have buildings, grounds, safety, and construction projects. We had that today, actually.
Yes, we did. We met earlier today. We met at 8 o'clock. Those present, Dr. Kramer, Dr. Wagner, Mr. Busenberg, Mr. Holter was there, Steve and I. We had a small construction update. The board should all be receiving those in their Friday reports and pictures, and that's coming along nicely. Next week, they're intending, or maybe it's not next week, but very soon, the dugouts at the baseball field are gonna be,
About mid-July.
by mid-July.
We're gonna
They're gonna
deconstruct
be
those and demolish them.
deconstructed,
Yeah.
and there'll be a new home and away dugout done. I know there was some question on whether we were doing both, but we are. And the concession stand for the baseball, softball, and band concession is coming right along as well. We talked about, at the city building, if you've been over here to the side, you see our HVAC is on the ground, not on the roof. So we're talking about some barriers that we're gonna put up just to protect from a car backing in. And we were talking about whether that was gonna be a chain link fence or an RTU barrier, and I think that's what we're gonna use initially, is the RTU barrier, see how that works out. The gymnasium floors are being done right now, and the new logo is gonna be put on to the JHS center court, just like the JMS was done. Our floors in the schools are right on schedule with ABM doing those, and relieving our maintenance folks to be able to do other tickets. I'm sure all of you guys have seen them in your schools doing some work there, so they've been able to do that, which is good. We have the 4th of July event, which I believe Amanda's gonna talk on that, but but that starts Friday at 4 p.m. And our maintenance team has been working diligently with that. We've transferred the electric so the food vendors can use the electric, and that's gonna be a nice event there. We're talking about doing our asphalt ceiling at all the school buildings. We're not sure that we're gonna do it all at once. I think we're gonna pick 1 or 2 places, then move forward that way. We've received bids from 2 places, Holmes and Hendren, and Mr. Holder and Mr. Busenberg both are working through those. Also, we are transitioning our trash vendor from Waste Management to Republic Waste on July 1st. So a little chancy to do that right before a big event. But we've been assured. I wouldn't do that, but we've been assured that it's gonna be just fine. So our new vendor is gonna be Republic Waste, and we're looking forward to working with them. Let's see, ABM. One of the, since Mr. Holder has taken over with the projects, we've been looking at the HVAC contract. And Mr. Busenberg, Mr. Holder, and Dr. Wagner have gone through that, and we're gonna be transitioning from having a contract with an HVAC vendor, and please correct me if I'm wrong, as a savings of $40,000. We would still have call-outs for larger repairs, so Mrs. Drummy accounts for that in the capital budget. But things for filters, checking on.
Belt replacement.
Belt replacement, things like that, they're able to do that. Our maintenance team has been doing a great job with those FMX tickets, so we're pretty confident, and we're excited to see how that goes. Plus, as Dr. Wagner and I just talked, most of our systems are fairly new, and the buildings are fairly new, so there shouldn't be that much maintenance going on, so. Calendar approvals, so make sure you're getting those in. And we talked a little bit about the parking lot, the gravel parking lot at the in front of the JIS building. Nothing yet on that, but there might be some things going on there. We're just not sure yet what's
Mr.
gonna
Kopp, I
happen.
mentioned about that, concern with that, so we're gonna look at that again.
We've got to
and
evaluate the
see, because
drainage and.
There's that needs a deeper study there,
Mhm.
because you can see the water comes up underneath the GIS parking lot
The
right
parking.
now, but we gotta think about how to shed that water, so that's a bigger study, but
If you look
that
at
can
the
be done with the
JIS
city.
parking lot, that's where
Yeah.
a lot of the sealant needs to go too for
Yeah.
repairs, so.
That's great.
Good. We didn't have finance, that'll be scheduled. Don't have insurance yet, that'll be scheduled in the fall. We'll need to get some more trend data. I think we have that scheduled yet, do we? Probably, I would imagine August or September. Policy, I think I've told Mrs. Davis and Mr. Koppel, we were trying to get a policy meeting scheduled, but we can put that on pause. The Neola company we use for our policies uses board docs as their back-end management, and they're transitioning to their own platform right now, so we couldn't get everything prepped. Their system is shut down right now, and it's recommended, I believe, until at least July 10th, July 15th before they'll be operational again. So some point get a policy, most likely probably in August, and I talked to Dr. Kramer about that. And the technology shouldn't have a meeting anytime soon either, probably late spring like we typically do unless something comes up, but James and the team have everything they need to start the year. And then LPDC, Local Professional Development Committee, did not meet, and they're not expected to until August the 10th, and those are all committees.
All right, can I get a motion to approve consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
And a second,
I'll second it.
Let me go through this real quick.
please.
Okay. On the first section, there are unpaid days. They're rather straightforward. On my situation, because of the way benefits are paid at the state, they need me to work the last day of the month because they for the next month. So I'm resigning a day early, so sorry. Just found that out. So I'll be here through June 30th. Resignations are all listed there. On Grace Wagner's position, we're coming up against the July 10th deadline, and our next board meeting's the 9th, so we're ready. We're in the finalist interview section right now, or segment around the Director of Student Services. I'm just want to let the board know you're most likely going to see a posting trying to fill another position if there's an internal candidate come from that. So I'll keep you updated, but the next day or so you can see another job posting. There's a domino effect and once everything's finalized, if it goes that direction. So more to come on that. I'll send you a separate message just to let you know. Otherwise, all the other resignations are straightforward unless you have questions. We have an amendment on Resolution 25, or it's Resolution to 25-05-110, and that's from a May meeting, and we're just changing the way things are organized a bit. So Polly Jennings will help with game management, but she's gonna, we're gonna modify hers a bit down to a 0.5, and that's so Marie Fleming can help at the high school. Certified employment, we have two people to present tonight, one of whom, Elizabeth Robertson, is not here. She's out of town, but I do want to highlight that she's related to Robertson Construction, so that was kind of an interesting, serendipitous event there. But she stood on her own with no encumbrance from Robertson Construction, but she's part of the family. And then we do have, Mr. Shipton is going to talk about Hannah Hawkins for the GIS intervention specialist and introduce her. While they're coming up, I'll just go through this quick. The rest of the agenda, we have we have the supplement employment for the 26-27 school year. The next section is your pupil activity, and that's your red line, so you're only going to approve the ones who are new. Apologize for that duplication in there, but we caught it now. We have volunteers, we have Bailey Stranges for band for the 26-27 school year, and that's it for consent.
Awesome.
Mr. Shipton, and then we'll see if the board has any questions.
Good afternoon. Attrition at the high school has been very minimal for the summer, which is wonderful. Knock on wood. We get through the next couple weeks, get through past that July 10th, we'll be good. Obviously, Dakota Dustin biology earlier this month for biology, and we had a vacancy from Sarah Martin's departure as intervention specialist at the high school for the 26-27 school year. So I am happy to present. I believe Hannah was the last she was the last candidate to apply. So save the best for last. Great job. She comes to us from East Knox, local school district. She's been an intervention specialist there for the past 5 years, so she brings experience to JHS. Side note, she's also a shift manager, a shift lead at Annie Ann's, and has had that position at the Outlet Mall for about a decade. So cinnamon rolls and pretzels, I guess. But yeah, she's a hard worker, obviously, and we're very excited to have her be a part of the JHS family. So come on up. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm really excited. I've heard a lot of great things about Johnstown, so I'm really excited to be a part of the district and get involved. Sports, volunteering, whatever I can.
Do you live pretty local?
Yeah, I live in Sunbury.
Okay.
So,
Easy commute.
yeah.
That's one of our selling points is it's farther to drive to East Knox than
Yes.
it is here.
I was doing
Although with traffic,
quite a
I'm not
long
sure on
commute.
timing anymore,
Right.
but certainly
Yeah.
for distance,
I'll
we'll
have
get
to
that
take
saved.
that in consideration. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thanks so much for being here.
Yes, I'm super excited.
And that's all we have. Thank you. That's
Perfect.
good. That's all we have for consent unless there's questions.
You can call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
And treasurers, when you're ready.
all right. So we have several resolutions. They're all related to closing our fiscal year end. Motion 2606-169 to authorize the treasurer to request advanced settlement payments of tax year 25 assessments collected during the second half of calendar 26.
Can I get a motion for that?
I'll motion.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So all that is, when we're asking for an advance, is any money that the county starts collecting from tax bills being paid, that they will then forward it on to us. So they're not holding our money for a month or two.
So you have to ask for it?
We have to ask for it. Twice a year, they make us ask.
Okay.
And then it stands for at least that 6-month
Okay.
window for that tax collection.
Great, thanks. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-170. This would be to approve the transfers to close the fiscal year end on June 30.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So is this, oh, I apologize, were you gonna say something?
No.
So is this the amount remaining in the fund and they are able to use it in the 2026-2027 school year? Or is this already used funds?
This would be already used, so it would bring the fund balance to 0. So they would be starting the new fiscal year with 0.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah, thanks, Ann.
Doggone it.
Sorry.
I have a question. Don't we usually have a carryover, or am I remembering incorrectly? Since I'm on the finance committee, am I remembering incorrect?
That's quite all right. No, usually,
I thought we
since
usually put a little-
2020.
Oh,
Oh, well, It depends if there are encumbrances that might still be pending,
Pending,
because
yeah.
we did actually anticipate this might need to be larger.
Yeah, we thought it was a
Yeah.
good deal larger than what it is here today, so.
Right, so when we have a PO that's open, we, often that's an estimate. So if that estimate is too large for what the actual expense is, or it carries over into the next year, and then it gets maybe canceled or paid at a smaller amount, it could result with, that they would have a little extra in the fund. But currently, there are no encumbrances, so there are no open POs, so we know exactly what's obligated. And that's, we were transferring just enough to cover all of their obligations.
Because that's a lower number than what we had originally thought,
Mhm.
significantly lower.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was related to transportation. There's a lag in the billing that comes to us for trips. And so we did have a little bit larger reservation of funds out there for transportation that wasn't necessary.
Okay, that's great, thank you.
When you say lag, do they have a
Mhm.
certain time period that they're supposed to bill us for these I'm assuming they're the extracurricular, maybe a field trip or sports, things like that?
It's really, there's a payroll lag anyway, when, someone has to work and then they turn in those hours and they're paid, 2 weeks after that generally. And then it takes some time for them to aggregate and bill us, so it's probably a 4-week to a 6-week, depending on how many trips there've been. So I don't know that
Which
there's.
is still pretty timely, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry, just fighting the
That's all right.
remnants of a cold. I'm not infectious, so, no, I just have the SAR there. I didn't want
No,
to
that's
overtake
all
your
right.
meeting. so.
Glad you're okay.
Any other questions?
Can't control that.
No.
All right, I think we're good on that one then.
All right. Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
And just as a reminder, one thing that will help with the athletics, even though they would be starting with 0, is the change in transportation costs and how we'll be managing those. So that will allow them to be, manage all of their expenses and be fully in control and not wait on that payroll lag. So we think that's also a very good change for next year. Resolution 2606-171 is to approve the fiscal 26 final appropriations and final amended certificate of estimated resources as of June 30, and further authorize the treasurer to submit to the Licking County auditor.
Motion for that?
All motion?
Second.
I'll second it.
Questions?
I was just gonna say, this is just an annual requirement, part of what we have to give to the Licking County Budget Commission. And their job with this is to make sure that we did not spend more than we had available in resources.
All right, thank you. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
And the last treasurer recommendation is Resolution 2606-172 to approve the temporary fiscal 27 appropriations and fiscal 27 estimated resources as of July 1, and further authorize the treasurer to submit to the Licking County auditor.
Motion?
All motion?
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And this just gives us some authority to start doing business on Wednesday when the calendar turns. We can keep paying our bills and payroll. And
Great, thank you. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Resolution 26-06-173 is a resolution for the Newark City Schools Chance Light Academy contract.
Motion for this?
I'll make the motion.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
I do have a couple questions on this one.
Sure.
So do we have a student that's identified for this program?
Yeah.
So that's it, okay.
Yeah.
And are there specific services or facilities that fall into this program that we don't have on site?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Part of, you want me to
Could you
expound
give
on
me a
that a
little
little bit?
background?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what happens is when you look at special education, there are, and this one specifically related to special education, there are 13 federal categories, and then you have kind of a 14th, if you will, with preschool. When you have a smaller school district like ours, sometimes there are small numbers of students, and it's hard to program for them, so we use outside resources. When you look at specific learning disabilities, that's a more common or higher incidence disability, so we have a lot of support. You'll hear intervention specialists. When you get into other disabilities, it could be more what they call low incidence, so deaf, blind, hard of hearing, behavioral issues, especially students that might need more wraparound services. And then, so you look at the numbers of students and how we can provide those supports. And there's also some restrictions in the law that you can't service students in wider than a 5-year time period too. So let's say you wanted to make a class, then you had a group of kids, students from K through 6. You can't do that because that's 7 years, and honestly, even 5 years is hard to program. So what I would suspect is over time, the way we're pacing is as we get larger in our size, then you will have the need or you'll have more students in the district, and then you can program for them, and there'll be recommendations to let's hire a specialized teacher here, for these areas. Because we're a smaller district, this doesn't just impact special education. One of the things you'll see, like if you use the high school, for example, we have smaller numbers of high school students as well too, so we have College Credit Plus, and we have a lot of extra services we provide, but not in-house. As we grow larger, you'll have a larger cohort of students, and you say, okay, can we do advanced placement classes, for example, or other specialized? So it affects us in different areas.
Is this a contract that we had last year?
Yes.
Too, okay.
Yeah, and some things, I'm careful because I don't want to talk about too much because there's student confidentiality, but if a student, and I'm not saying this is the example, but if a student comes to us with this type of service, it might be that we're continuing. They've just changed their residence, so then the school district is responsible for it. And sometimes even students come from out of state. One of the things we're seeing is although our overall student enrollment hasn't grown in the last couple of years because of all the economic development projects and the demolition of single-family homes or residences in our school district, we are seeing more of a transient population. So we have students, it's been greater than it has been recent years, so more students in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know we've had some feedback that trying to keep what we can here.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we went through those steps to.
It's a good question because, and I want to be careful saying this because you don't want to monetize these things, but often it's not as efficient to send students out of the district because you have transportation costs.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start looking at it is, can we put an accurate program there? Let's say there's 2 children inside of a 5-year time frame, you can't, or a 5-year age gap. You can't really do that sometimes. So, but I think at some point as we get larger, like I said, it'll be expected. Typically, and this is just with a broad stroke, public schools see somewhere about 10 to maybe 15% of their student population identified as special needs in some form. We're in that range typically, but that proportion will change obviously as we get larger.
That's all I got.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good? Yep. So that's, anyways, that's the contract without me talking too much about it.
Call roll. Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-174 is a contract for community bus services, and this is a 5-year contract that would run from July 1st through June 30th, 2031.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
You heard the presentation tonight. I still think, there's some value in once you get your bus routes established. And Derek, I don't think that's a substantive change in the contract. We can look at that without having to delay approval tonight. And then, as I said, the bus routes will be somewhat established as typical in school. There's about the 3rd week of the school year, and then you can bring that to committee and decide what you want to do with that. Okay?
Yep.
Any other questions I can answer? Okay.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-175 is transportation deemed impractical for the 25-26 school year.
Can I get a motion for that one?
I'll motion.
Thank you. And second.
I'll second it.
And this resolution and the next one, 176, you probably are wondering, do we duplicate things again? No, we didn't. This list has just grown a bit. I put a little bit in the Friday report on that. You may actually have one or two more for the next meeting because they trickle in. The parents have to make the request, and we have a process we go through that complies with the state of Ohio. So these are all new requests. And again, this is agreeing they were deeming and impractical to transport. And the next one, 176, will be payment, duplication like of the two lists. That's why you see it twice.
Can you explain to the public why
Sure.
we deem it impractical?
Sure.
Because sometimes it's a lightning issue for people.
Yeah.
right?
Well, like, let's take St. Matthew's School. I believe that's the one in Gahanna, for example. So what we have to do is, we have to determine is it feasible for us to take a bus and travel to Gahanna and provide that transportation. So there's a couple things you look at. There's some time limitations, and is it 30 minutes or more? And that's by bus transportation. That's not car, because sometimes the car routes are faster. Something we learned as we went through the transportation study is that it's actually door to door they time it, where we have been looking parking lot to parking lot, if you will, and so we're looking at that a little more carefully. And then also there's some other impracticalities, like if you just have a few students, it's hard to take a whole bus out of the fleet and have them transported. Sometimes we can use a van or some other, but it's really those two areas. If you want more detail about that, if a parent disagrees with the practicality or impracticality, they can petition the district. We go through a process ourselves, and then there's what are called area coordinators, and you can do time studies, and you have basically a third party that will go through and look at that for you, and they'll more neutral, and they can review it as well too. This is just agreeing that we don't have, these students are impractical based on the criteria, and everyone's in agreement so far who we've dealt with in this meeting and in the previous one. Sure.
Thank you.
Call the roll on that.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-176 is payment in lieu of transportation for the 25-26 school year.
Motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
I won't offer anything more, except now you're authorizing payment where you just previously agreed that they're impractical.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-177 is approval of overnight extended student trip for their senior trip, and that is March 15th through March 18th, 2027. Under the supervision of Mrs. Ortman, who I believe is here. She's in
She
the
is.
back,
She's
so
in the
if there are any
back.
questions, she's happy to help address those.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
One of the things we did in preparation for this is, because we've run into this in past years, we made sure to check the calendar, and there is not a conflict with any other events, including the musical. So sometimes we've had to navigate that. But everyone is good. I'm looking to Mrs. Ortman, so I think we're good. Any other questions by the board or?
I was just gonna say I appreciate that we have this early. I know that field trips take a lot of time and things to coordinate, and so sometimes things don't come together till last minute. But when we have that earlier, we can also make sure it's not conflicting with other stuff or important test days for students, et cetera. So thank you.
And I appreciate that they work together with the musical and
Yep.
the other events. Thank you.
I second that about getting it early to us,
Yes.
because we know it's gonna happen, we've done it for years, so, I appreciate all the work to get it this early so we can get everything planned and organized.
It's also strange to see something with the word, with
2027
2027 on
isn't it?
there.
I
like,
know.
so-
I know.
We're taking a
I
trip.
finally got used to 26 and now
I
we're
know.
into 27,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I agree.
You can call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-179 is overnight field trip, Ohio Leadership Institute, and this is what we often call the Model UN, and this is December 6th through December 8th, 2026.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
So we have the three staff members there, Kevin Barnhart, Shannon Cox, and Joel Foxell, and Mr. helping to look this over, but again, this is submitted well in advance so that we can get everything organized, get on the calendar to try and minimize conflicts with other events.
And I will say one of my favorite times is when they come in and talk about their country and their experience. And Ann and I might have to
We
be
have
at the
the
Hyatt
dates.
Regency in December. Because
We have
like
the dates now, so I was
This
just
is-
thinking I gotta write it down.
This was like, you know, one of those dream opportunities that I didn't have in high school. And so when I see our young people have it, first off, I'm thrilled for them, but a little sad for me. So, so I would love to go see them in their element and just see all of it.
We
So,
appreciate all your support, 'cause
Yep.
it's not a cheap trip, so thank you.
yeah. Any other questions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-179 is overnight field trip for 5th grade camp, and this is May 24th through May 26th, 2027.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I know that Mrs. Spangler's not here, but I know last year we divided it up into
Yeah,
two groups. Are they gonna
this'll-
go all together now?
They have it all scheduled for one group now.
That might
in
be.
those
Oh,
3
yeah,
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all gonna go at the same time, because I know last
Brad,
year.
Brad, come up and use the mic, just so, because people watching this afterwards won't be able to hear.
Yes, since we switched the dates with them, we got in early enough this year, they can now accommodate all of us to go at once. So we're
Oh,
excited for the
great.
opportunity,
That's
because
so
you're correct, to the previous 2 years, we've had to go in 2 groups. But
Yeah.
now, just based upon their availability and us getting in early like this, we're able to get everyone to go at the same time, so we're excited for that.
That's so exciting.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank
Brad,
Yay.
tell Tammy and the rest of the team thank you, because here again, another example, get it in early, get it scheduled, pays dividends on
Wow.
many fronts.
Will do. All right,
Well,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another camp that the kids really look
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's raining, you watch them come back soggy, and the staff too.
Well, and it's so exciting to be able to go at the same time as your
Yeah.
best friend who's in a
Yeah.
different
That's right.
class
You're
versus
right.
they're
That's
going
right.
different
You're
times.
right.
And I also think logistically for scheduling,
Yeah.
so great, yep.
Yep.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Resolution 26-06-180 is second reading of revised policies.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second? Do we-
Second.
On the policy.
Thank you.
Did you see the update we sent about the payment on the days that people don't use their vacation
Yeah.
days and get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things we did on that, is in concert with Mrs. Drummy, is the payout days, if you want to cash in some of your vacation days, will align perfectly with the board compensation, so we don't, and it could be twice a year, because sometimes people like to use them at certain times a year. I've
Sure.
seen people try to use it for summer vacation or maybe around the holidays at Christmas. So other than that, there's no other changes to that policy, for those two actually.
Thank you. All right. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Resolution 26-07-181, second reading of new policies.
And a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I think you've seen this before. We're
Yep.
going to execute this with the Mrs. Seibel back there, so that'll be exciting. At the Seibel Center at the high school.
Well, what an honor to have a legend to create a new policy,
There you
to
go.
adopt a new policy
There you
for,
go.
so.
Knowing Debbie, she's like, move on, I don't want to talk about this.
And she's like, "We did this
Debbie's
already."
like, come on, we'll move on, I can
Oh.
hear it now.
Should
from-
she give a speech? Is this
Yes.
the second reading?
Yeah, right.
You can call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes. Board comments?
I did forget to talk about the turf. Wait, I know. I saw it here at the side. So we had the meeting this morning. I hadn't been able to
was a
revise
lot.
my notes,
Thanks,
so I
Jess.
apologize. So I have writing here, here, and here. And I just wanted to say that our high school stadium, they had the inspection by Milo George. It's an annual inspection. We passed. He thinks that we could go 5 more years, which is past the actual warranty of the turf, so that's great news. And they did give us for the board, they did give us an estimate. If we were to have to replace the turf today, it would be $650,000. And that's not the shock pad, because the shock pad they should be able to reuse. But just the turf alone. And Dr. Wagner was referencing that I think we have $527,000 estimated in the capital fund for turf replacement. But we don't have to do that right now, and we can continue to look forward.
Do shock pads ever need replaced?
Yes,
Yeah.
but right now.
Wait, so it'd be on a different cycle than the turf?
That's correct.
Mm.
It may be that when they'll just have to review it.
Yeah.
Depending on
Mhm.
what happens in each year, they review it, and give its approval, because it has to be certified for use, annually. And I don't know if Mr. Geis sets that up or Mr. Busenberg, but
Mr. Busenberg sets that up with Mr. Holter, and they go through and do all that.
so it's a safety factor.
Okay.
there, so. But I just wanted everybody to know that, because I think it's important.
Also, I think it's great that we knew years ago that it was gonna cost a lot of money and that we've been really diligent, because the last thing you want to be slapped with is a surprise $650,000 bill. So.
Well, and that's today's dollars too.
I
right?
know,
So, yeah.
I know, when you said today.
Yeah.
For
Actually, it was
sure.
last month's numbers, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks for that, Ann.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everyone for maintaining the turf. We learned from a previous experience that maintenance yearly of the turf is very important to keep it lasting as long as possible. So many thanks to the maintenance people and Derek for making sure that the turf is properly maintained.
It's a
Remember
big
that,
job.
right?
I absolutely do.
Absolutely.
I
It can wear
agree
out
with
very
you.
quickly if you don't maintain it.
Anything else? I don't wanna steal your thunder if you're gonna talk about the fourth.
It's okay, you can steal it.
I don't have anything
I'll
particular to,
qualify.
I don't have anything in particular to say, other than we're hosting festivities here.
Yep.
We're looking forward to seeing everyone. We know our maintenance and other staff have worked really hard to prepare everything. The Boy Scouts will be there helping with parking and cleanup, and, in the words of Tim Swager, please pick up your trash.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Sent the family letter sent the family letter out. Big part of that, it's a lot about, it's hard to get people in the mode of thinking about next school year ready, but it's coming. Big part of it was transportation, what we talked about. We're already getting a good response for people. And then some good positive responses about expanding the walk zone, or minimizing the walk zone and expanding the transportation. So that's gone well. I've gotten a few messages about that as well. A few parents have questions about logging in, but we'll help them with that. So that's been good. That letter covers multiple areas, but transportation's a big one there. Last week we hosted Camp Invention. That's the first time we've done that. That's been
Yeah.
around for a long time. It's a science camp. Katie Schaefer served as our director. We had multiple staff helping, including Mrs. Ryan, Mindy Thomas from the high school, Tammy Spangler. And you had-
Lots of high school
Yeah,
volunteers.
yeah, a lot of high school volunteers, yeah. It's just a nice
Mhm.
event for kids, and it's a day long, 5 days a week, so everyone was
Yes.
tired by the end. But it's just, and I know other districts been doing this for 20-some years, the first time we've done that. Robin had a handle in that and getting that to the table. Grace Wagner did a bit too. They got a grant from Intel, this National Hall of Fame inventors group, so that'll be something we'll continue, I think, and it went well. There's always improvements your first year, but it went really well, to the point.
I was gonna add, so my kids have participated in Camp Invention in Granville and in Northridge. They were at camp somewhere else this week, otherwise they would have joined. But I was gonna say that money from Intel is really appreciated, because it's a pricey camp. I mean,
It is.
the camp is really fabulous. I mean, the stuff that the young people bring home is incredible. But I saw that there was the money that came in, and that made that much more affordable. And I just thought that's really great, because
Yeah.
that really reduces barriers for kids to be able to
It
participate.
was. We spread that across, tuition, but it's an expensive program relatively. You
Yeah.
have staffing costs that you expect, but there's a lot of materials with that too, and that's where a lot of your costs are involved. But
Mhm.
we just heard a lot of positives. I wouldn't be surprised if our 44 campers, give or take, 46, wouldn't double the next year. It's
Yeah.
not atypical, and sometimes people run, some different schedules. We'll do review of it and decide, but I think, you know, as
How
a,
many campers can you take at
it
one
depends
time
on how
once
much you
break
want
it
to
up?
scale. They have models. Some districts do it half day, they'll do it over 2 weeks.
Okay.
Some did it, like we tried it full day for 5 days. Some will run different weeks. You could run 5 weeks on two different sections. Really depends on your enrollment. I know that Mr. Werman was helpful with it, but we were doing, not cold calling per se, but we were really pushing and used our all-call system to get families involved. So for our first year, and they came to us relatively late because of the funding came in, it was well done. It's one of those things that, you know, if you told me that was year 4 or 5, I would have believed it. Like, it ran that smooth. And of course, Katie leading it is, you know, speaks of itself, and she does a great job. But yeah, we'll keep you updated for next year then too.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Staffing, you know, I've tried to give you some updates. We're getting close to filling positions. You know, I already mentioned if there's an internal movement, we'll have the Director of Student Services position, but otherwise everything is going well. They're happy to answer any questions. Policy meeting, we already talked about that. Fireworks, we have a speaker this year around 6 o'clock. We'll have Mrs. Davis speaking on behalf of the school district. Probably the speakers start around 6. That's the schedule right now. That's a great event though if you want to come out. And then doors open should be about 5. Food trucks will be there going through their inspections about 4 o'clock, but after 5 you get in, and then we're here all the way through the fireworks. I want to second the maintenance team because they do a tremendous job. And then, you know, we work with really many members of the community. Dave Seeland's been leading this up again. Craig has helped develop with the American Legion the video again, new video this year, so that looks great. Restrooms are open and prepped. We have changing rooms for the students, and Little Miss Johnstown, I think, is going to be recognized. Is that right? There's so a lot of different events, so there's a lot of coordination, but it's going really well. So if you can be there, it's a fun time. And the weather forecast is good, even better. Other than being hot, but there's no rain. So yeah, well, steamy we'll take. Remember the year a couple years ago when it was swirling around the stadium? We were just waiting, and then it finally done.
There's like rain.
But anyways, 5 o'clock you can get in. 6 o'clock's when it probably really starts if you want to get seated. One more thing I wanted to talk about the turf, because Mrs. Thomas brought that up. We're also going to look at a study too about how when the turf is open or the track is open, and we're going to look at some other school districts. With the turf, it's interesting because the original life cycle was supposed to expire in 2028. Now we're out to 2031 because of good maintenance. But we have a lot of requests to use the stadium, so we're going to look at that and see about some policies and procedures around that. And then I think we need to think about ×2 because eventually we're going to have the North Campus open, and that'll be even a bigger, that turf field is soccer prepared. I think it's like 210, 220 feet wide, so that's really big there, and they'll be used for multiple sports, so we have that. And I think that's everything, unless you guys have any questions for me. Did I miss anything?
I had one other thought that when we're talking about the North Campus stuff, part of the city's traffic changes they're making, when we got that email about the right turn lane, I believe they're moving the light on 62 to William Street, which will affect our inflow-outflow of the intermediate school. So it's just something to think about. We might need to get some information on the timing of that update, but William Street is a lot narrower than Oregon.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of traffic back and forth. So right now there's no plans for the city to make any improvements to the road quality on Williams either. That's something that I've kind of been advocating for. Something that we may want to keep on our radar to coordinate with the city as far as safety and, you know, how that, whether
We'll follow up,
if we have an opinion on that policy or what we can do to improve, make that policy work for our operations.
We'll follow up with them. I'm trying to get a related issue that I was talking to Mayor Hollis about. We need to get our security school liaison team back together. And that's security, but the school liaison, because remember there was going to be an engineering study looking at traffic and patterns, and we need to see where the city is. We can throw that in the mix, Mr. Koppel.
Yep.
Mr. Koppel, we'll throw that in the mix too.
You're in transition.
So we'll throw that in the mix as well too, and we'll look at that and see. When we get back to transportation, that's one of the things they do. When we get the routes in from the families, that's why we ask for the opt-in, they'll actually do dry runs. And they'll get some of the routes organized, but it's gonna be, they'll be changing variables. That, and we're seeing, you've probably been down 37 to see Leafy Dell. We're hearing that could go later than the start of the school year, possibly much later. We'll see how that goes. So going all the way on Coshocton to hook in through the back of Leafy Dell will add some time too. So we're gonna have our work cut out for us with traffic flow and all this. So there is something, well, I'm just telling for a second, we're looking at timing of the elementary and the intermediate, and there's a chance we may flip those two buildings because of transportation, because of trying to get out of, making a left turn out of Leafy Dell, depending if that intersection's open. It'll be nice that it's controlled, but until we get there, and then maybe having the intermediate dismissed before the elementary, and then flip that around so that you can maybe make a right turn in there. So more to come on that, but that's under study as well too, because of all the changes in the community. I think that's all I have unless there's questions for me. Reminder, board meeting is Thursday. We changed it because of the July 10th deadline. So July 9th, Thursday, 5 o'clock will be here. Okay. That's all I have unless there's questions.
Anything else? July 9th is our next.
Yep, Thursday.
July 9th.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
You're sleeping on the
It's
job
just-
down there, Jesse.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Copwell?
Yes.
He's the last one taking us out.
Good?